Alrighty. It's been a long 2 weeks, right? 2 weeks waiting for raid, doing quests, achievements, dragon racing, you know. A lot of stuff to do. Some people didn't, a lot of stuff some people did not want to do. But there's a lot of stuff to do, a lot of stuff got done. But now the raid is upon us, and let's talk about it a little bit, right? So, going into the first raid, what's going on with Arms or Fury? What's going to be the best for you? And the reality is, they're both really, really close. They're actually within, I think, like 10 to 15k DPS, and when you're doing 1.4, 1.5 million DPS, as far as at least like Sims are concerned right now, that's pretty damn close, and so it's realistically not going to matter. There is the potential for the last boss. I'm not really sure when this boss phases, so it is possible that with phasing, if the boss phases and it's like a very execute-centric fight, then Arms might be a bit ahead in terms of like how you want to gear and progress your character for Mythic rating. But realistically, for everybody else, and depending on how important the ads are, because there's supposed to be a lot of ads in the last phase as well. We're in the second phase and the intermission stuff. It could simply be better for Fury, even if it is a execute-centric fight, because Fury doesn't lose too much single target for going AoE talents. So we're looking pretty good regardless. And most of the time they say, oh, you can play whatever, haha, it doesn't matter. But like literally the DPS is so close between these specs that you can quite literally just play what you want. Arms has a slight advantage in terms of pure single target, but any form of cleave, Fury is feeling real good. And let's just go over the bosses and see which might be better. For the first boss, it's literally just a single target boss. Don't stand in the swirlies, don't stand in the stuff. The boss is going to do charges back and forth. Don't get hit by that shit. There is some ads, and on Mythic, there's probably going to be some parsing on this boss where your raid just lets you blast the ads, but that's kind of cringe and we don't really care. So maybe you could save like a Blade Storm for it or something, but realistically, this is just going to be a single target boss. The Bloodbound Horror actually has a decent amount of ads to kill. This is where we're going to be wanting to run our AoE talents. Like I said, we don't lose a lot of single target for running AoE. So you go down with your group, you kill the ads, good to go, kill the boss, don't stand in stuff, don't get hit by the beam. It's pretty simple. For Sikran, it is a pure single target fight. So Arms or Fury, once again, doesn't matter. I think Fury will have a bit of an upper hand on the Bloodbound Horror, but it's so early in the tier, it's not really going to matter. There are ads on Rashanan. The boss does spawn a bunch of little ads, but realistically, if we wanted to deal with those ads, even if we're running, like, say, our single target talents, we could simply do something as simple as take a point out of Deft Experience and go Odin's Fury, or just take a point, maybe point out of Vicious Contempt, but the execute phase is actually pretty sizable on this boss, so Vicious Contempt is very valuable. So you could do this if you wanted to pad on the ads, but realistically, those things just kind of die and explode. If your Blade Storm's close, you can save a Blade Storm for him, but there's no real, like, notable AoE on that boss. So it's just like, yeah, there's a bunch of little ads you can pop on, but realistically, it's pretty much a single target and you're killing and going forward. Broodkeeper, we're definitely going to be running our AoE talents on this fight. There is just simply so many ads throughout the whole phase. You have to kill a lot of ads throughout the phase. And once again, as a class that is able to just focus on the boss and then and then AoE everything around it, we'll definitely be running our AoE talents for this little slug man. And yeah, it'll be good. Definitely, you do want to save like maybe a Blade Storm or your Odin's Fury for those ad pops, but I think we looked at it and every ad pop was about, I think every ad pop was almost like about 45, 50 seconds apart, something like that, at least towards the spawn rate. So if you're looking at a 55-second window, holding Odin's Fury for 10 seconds might be a bit of a single target loss, but that just means you'll have Odin's Fury for every single ad set guaranteed. And if your Blade Storm is close, you'll have Blade Storm too. So we'll definitely be running our AoE talents on this boss. And we'll just be chilling, hitting the boss, break your eggs, yada yada, all that good stuff. Nexus Princess is a pure single target fight. This boss is going to be doing a lot of funky stuff. Don't stand in other people's lines. You're not going to want to be... Even as melee, we're going to want to get our lines out of the raid, because I think, if I remember right, it like blooms off itself. So if like you hit somebody else with your stuff, then they also shoot crap everywhere. I don't remember if they removed that or if that's still in, but definitely just pure single target. That's what we're going to be running on this. Silken Court for heroic, it's actually a bit different. For heroic, this boss is, you can 2-target cleave, so arms might do pretty well here for heroic. But on mythic, you cannot 2-target cleave. They are both, it's a essentially single target raid encounter. I don't know how often these scarabs are going to spawn and how much of a pain they're going to deal with. One of the interesting things about the scarabs, though, is when they do spawn, they have this hardened carapace on them. So they spawn and they take a significant amount of reduced damage when they spawn. So you actually have to kind of like passive cleave them down and then put damage into them a bit after, because they take basically little to no damage on spawn. But realistically, this is probably another, you have some cleave, but we're mainly looking at single target for this fight. For heroic, arms might be the better, like, I don't want to say prog, but it might be the better parsing spec, just because you'll have a lot more 2-target cleave. But even then, the bosses hop around, they're running around, jumping around, doing all kinds of shit, so you won't have that 2-target the whole time. So for Fury, realistically, we're probably going to be playing, unless the ads are a problem, you're probably just going to be playing single target for Fury on this, because you want to prep for Mythic. You're not really going to be AoEing on Mythic anyway. And then Queen Ansarek. And as you can see, you have a lot, and I mean a lot of ads. So this fight will have a ton of ads, and that being the case, we'll definitely be running our AoE talents. Because of the sheer amount of ads, I'm guessing we'll probably be running, this is probably going to be a Fury boss. It also helps that, especially for progression, the Warpaint talent that 10% reduced damage while Enrage is active, as well as just having a second two-hander worth of stamina, is going to be very, very valuable. Mainly because arms actually, its avoidance talent, the 10% avoidance it got through Seasoned Soldier. I think I can show it to you if I go to the spellbook here. Does it show passives? No, it doesn't show the passives here. But arms has a passive called Seasoned Soldier that gives it 5% avoidance instead of 10, because all nodes of avoidance and leech got nerfed. So it's not nearly as valuable. Arms Fury will be far tankier, especially considering we heal 3% of our health every single time we hit Bloodthirst. We are going to be... It's probably going to be a pretty good Fury tier. But like I said, if for some reason this boss ends up being very, very execute-centric, because on the top platform, supposedly the soft enrage is just area denial. So if that phase is way more important than the ads, and dealing with the ads isn't really that big of a deal, it might turn into an arms fight, potentially, for like Race to World First kind of stuff. But for most people, Fury will do just as well, and Fury might even be what they run on the race, just because, look, there are so many ads, man. You're going to want to be able to do AoE and single target, and Fury's one of those specs that can do AoE and single target relatively well. But yeah, that's what we're looking up in the coming tier. I'm going to do one more of these videos, or not one of these videos, but I'm going to go over trinkets, because I think trinkets are kind of interesting to talk about. So I'll have both of them up during the downtime before Raid comes out on Tuesday. And yeah, literally just play what you want. You'll be able to find success regardless. It is going to be a very flexible tier. The only thing that is unfortunate is, because of how Colossus works, Slayer is just better for both Arms and Fury. So you're going to be running Slayer regardless. You're going to be spinning regardless. But personally, I'll be playing Fury. But I will see you next time. Bye-bye.